Let it run.
Buddy, let's see what's going on here. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live?
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thanks for joining us. We're finally live. I'm Cali Reseller Luis. And of course, if you guys don't know who I am, with us we have our special guest, the one and only Emily Conway.
Hi.
And of course, you guys know the guy at the end, the Lone Star Picker, Louie.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Out of Austin, Texas, we got California represented, and we got East Coast New York, right?
Yep. Sorry.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. So, does everybody in the chat hear us? Who do we got in here? Let's say some hellos first before we do this. We kind of said hello to everybody, and let me show you. First came in was our wonderful Simply Dana. Look at that smiley face. She's always.
Hi, Dana. Thanks for coming in.
Exactly. Yeah. If you guys don't know her, reach out and look at her Instagram. She was one of my first people that I followed. And speaking on the topic we're going to be talking about here, this is Monday Mindful Merchants. Monday's Mindful Merchants, and we're all merchants. We're resellers, but we're going to use this platform in a way that it's just going to bring us into the week. Hopefully, we can bring in some ideas, methodologies, some techniques, and just have a good dialogue. And what can we do to inspire ourselves, set our daily aims, move into the weekly goals. So we also have our wonderful Ford Pinto spelled backwards, nip, drop, dorf, flips.
It's Richard.
Richard is exactly right. And he and I did an interview not too long ago at Cats. But try to say his name like that 6 times real fast, forget it.
No, I'll butcher it.
Oh, look who's here. We're wonderfully here. Hello, everybody. Hello. And who's this guy? I know him. I think I
know who that guy is.
We got Jay Marie in the house. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Marie.
Oh, look here. We got from the east side of Texas, all the way from the Houston area. He's like, what's up, fellow resellers and reselling enthusiasts? That's right. That's what it's all about. How can we be a little more enthusiastic? Let's bring it on here. I appreciate that. We got Dan in the house, the one and only. If you're not mindful of this, you have to watch a Seinfeld episode that has his name in it. So we'll go to that another day. Maybe
we'll get into that another live.
All right, so here we go. And then we got Dan here. Who is this? Found for you today. Awesome. I love that moniker.
Welcome.
Art, thanks again here. We got okay, so I think we're almost there. Oh, we got Johnny's in here. Hey there. You guys, I'm gonna say this real quick and then we'll move in. After this is over, we're gonna try to end it in an hour, so I better be quiet here. And a little more mindful and let's get this show on the road. But after this, at 4:00, if you guys want to hop off, Johnny has his bingo show. So jump over there. That'll be kind of a direct link to that. So you guys can just pile on over. Hey, Tim, how you doing there? And you notice he says hi to you. He doesn't say hi to me or Emily. What's up?
Yeah, I also saw Jonathan Alfaro on there. What's up, Jonathan? Thanks for showing up.
Okay. Where did Jonathan? Did I miss him?
Yeah, I saw him up in there.
Oh, there. I totally missed him. Yeah. Hey, Jonathan. He's a great guy. I've seen him in auctions. He wins some good stuff. Yeah, so, man. All right, let's let our guest introduce herself. This is the wonderful and amazing Emily Conway. And if you haven't seen her show, I believe it's on Wednesday nights, correct?
Yes, my mental health chat is on Wednesday nights. It's definitely mental health based, and I've been doing it now for a few months. I don't know, since before all this quarantine, right when the quarantine hit and everything. I've wanted, to have an outlet for people to just talk about stress or stuff like that, So Wednesday night, it's 8 p.m. where I'm at. I'm on the East Coast. So 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday nights is usually how it goes. And I talk about different topics. I have a lot of people on. Last week I had somebody on about, they're all resellers. It's all reseller people. I try to keep it within, the reseller community. And my last guest was a reseller, and also she had ADD. And so she was talking about what that looked like, you know, the misconceptions about ADD. And so I just give people a little bit of a platform to just talk about their mental health thing, you know, their mental health struggles. Like, as somebody who struggles with mental health myself, I have PTSD. I like to just have an outlet for people to just say, like, I'm there for you. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand you. And even if you don't have mental health struggles, like, you can be there for somebody else or learn something new, because, you know, connections with people with mental health is very important. Like, especially like if you have a mental health issue where you want to isolate yourself or something like that, like, anybody can learn about mental health and just be a little bit more educated, so then they can connect better with their mental health struggling friend, you know. And so, like, I think anybody could benefit from the chat, not just people with mental health, but any, you know, mental health problems, but anybody who just, you know, wants to learn more about it. And also we talk reselling too, you know, like.
That's what's wonderful, Emily. So when I first came on YouTube, I was kind of more on the reseller side. I did start with like Instagram first. I've always visited YouTube and I dabbled, but once I came to the point, and Luis and I were talking about this, we both stumbled on your channel, and one of the reasons we really were excited, you know, to have you here, and thank you again for being here, is that you are one of the few people that are openly and bold enough to like go ahead and say, hey, like, this is okay to talk about. This is a, you know, and with respect to Monday's Mindful Merchants, I mean, like, we're, you know, here we are. This is like the start of the week. Where can we be a little more mindful? And as merchants, which are resellers, what do we need to do like in our daily basis? It doesn't have to be strictly mental health, but it's like that is I think a key topic to like resellers. We're like a lot of us are doing this alone. We experience, you know, emotions in a way that probably some people don't, because a lot of people don't listen to us. You know? So we're always striving to, you know, have some type of community, some kind of communication. And like you just said, I think most importantly is like having somebody listen, you know. And so you doing that platform, I think is amazing. I've seen you do that. It seems like you've been doing it longer than 2 months.
A few.
Okay. So Luis, do you have any questions you want to start off with, or just?
I got a question for Emily.
Okay.
So, besides the Emily Conway that we all know, the reseller, the one that does all the funny TikTok videos and all the exciting stuff, who is Emily Conway?
That's a good question. So I'm a very sensitive person, very like creative. That's a really big question.
It's kind of hard,
Just answer it, you know, just as best as you could, you know, just to get a feel so people can get to know the real you a little bit more. You know? You know, that's all.
Real quick, I'm going to say hi. Old School Picker Chris came in. We just said hi to Dan. Jennifer, I forgot to say hello right away, but I saw her sneak in. We're always grateful to you, and anybody else I missed, like Tim and whatnot. So, yeah, that's a big question, Emily. But like, and that's the whole reason I think Luis and I were like, how do you talk about being mindful in a way that, you know, it's like, because I remember there was times where I was watching your show and I'm like, okay, what can I learn new here today? And one of them was just simply, it was like, I didn't know this about Emily. Like you brought in one time, if I'm permitted, it's like there was an aspect of you kind of like on the reseller side, but like you collect coupons or something at one time. And that, go ahead.
Sweepstakes. I entered sweepstakes for a living. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just it. Yeah, and that is, you know, and resellers, we do this because we're kind of on the perimeter of like, we got to do this because we're surviving, but also some of us, you know, tell us what led you from that to becoming a reseller.
Okay, I actually have a video about this. If y'all want to go see the longer form of this, I tell a little story time about my time in the sweepstake world. But yeah, I originally went to school as an ESL teacher, and I did that for a little while. I got my bachelor's degree. In New York State, you need a master's degree, and I just didn't want to go back to school. I wanted to stay home with my son, who was a newborn at the time. And so I did that, and I was like, but I still want to make extra money. So I did sweepstaking. Like I for some reason I remember my mom trying to do sweepstakes in the past, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see what this is about. So I like looked at this video called "Winning for a Living," and it shows like people who enter sweepstakes like constantly until they like win trips and they win like money and they win laptops and just or like and so I did that for like a year and a half maybe. Like I won all types of stuff. I didn't have to pay for bread for 2 solid years because I won a year's supply of bread. And I won another year's supply of bread the next year. So I had like 2 years worth of bread coupons. And like I told Sean, I'm the breadwinner now. I'm the breadwinner of the family, you know? And I was like, oh, it's the best comment.
For those who don't know, you're talking about your husband, right?
Yeah. No, but I was joking around with him. Like, and
that's great because that's money that's in your pocket. So, you know, there's an aspect of that is like, which it kind of, I'm going to kind of just go off on the hook here. I have questions, you know, I got like a little book here, but I mean, like, I think improving is so much better because part of something that Luis and I have talked about, like I'll greet him on a daily basis almost. And he always reaches out, hey, how's your day going and stuff. And we're like, one thing that comes up is, you know, it's family. So you consider yourself a reseller?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Be it part-time or full-time, I don't think it matters because I think a lot of us put in way extra work. But that being said, we have, as resellers, we have to live a life where how do you balance, you know, your householder needs? So like in your case, you got the family. So you're transitioning at one point from being a, you know, finding sweepstakes and you making money off of this, which is resellers, we sell stuff to make money. You doing sweepstakes was like another version of it. You know, it's like instead of selling stuff, you're winning stuff. And I heard some people in the sweepstake world sometimes get that stuff and profit off of it too, right?
Yeah. And so I thought about that when I became a reseller. I was like, how can I maybe do sweepstakes and like win free stuff and then resell it or something? But y'all, sweepstakes takes a lot of time, like a lot of time. Like you have to sit down, enter. You have to put your name and address into multiple sites just every single day. You know, your hands are busy all the time. You know what I mean? And so like, I was like, I wouldn't be able to do it because of all that work. And also another thing with sweepstaking is it's random. So 1 month, yeah, sure, you could win big on lots of things. You could like, but then there's like really discouraging months where you put in all that work and you don't win a single thing.
So your conscious awareness was like at one point, you know, because I think one of the key things that we need to be, you know, putting it on our radar, just if you're going to be a serious reseller, even just a part-time reseller, whatever, you know, and being a part-time doesn't mean you're not serious. But what I'm saying is like, in order to really just think those things through, what point, you know, like, are you consciously aware of going, you know, it's like, is this going to meet my needs? Is this sustainable? You know, you know, that can lead to so many questions. It's like, you know, it's like right now, like I have 101 questions I want to ask, but it's like, you know, where can we lead with that? It's like, once you jumped into reselling, what was the trigger point? Like, what was it in there that you went, oh, okay, this is
literally, it was the moment I made my first sale and I actually had money in my pocket, like real money, not like somebody's custom wall clock they made that I could potentially sell, you know, like I had actual money in my hand. It wasn't, you know, random. I didn't, because with sweepstaking, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get it. With reselling, it is much more sustainable for sure. There's no question, you know.
It's sustainable, but there's like that level that kind of reaches up where like you put in that conscious effort. You chose to put, let's just say it's eBay or whatever it was, whatever your platform is. You know, Luis and I are like every day, like, are you listing? Yeah. You know, like, okay, beat it in the ground, get in there, you know, do 20, 40, whatever, you know. And it's like, you know, we need to encourage each other. But like when you're doing this, and the first step, like I would say to anybody who watches this, a new reseller, you know, the first step is really like, that's really where the journey, you know, is like, oh, that money I earned, you know, and it's like, do you remember like what it was that you sold? What was it like, and how much?
Yeah, for sure. I will never forget. I picked up a pair of Harry Potter van shoes,
Wow.
They're Slytherins, so they had like this like leathery kind of exterior on them. But I picked them up for $20 and I sold them online for $80 like the next day.
Nice.
So nice. That was my first pickup, my first flip, and I'm like,
okay. That's awesome. We got some questions already. So if I missed anything, Luis, or
no, you're good right now.
You know, but I think Jonathan here he asked an interesting question. What was the biggest prize you won? Going back.
That's a good question. What was the biggest?
And then we got one more after this.
I think it's hard to say. Probably a year's supply of T-shirts. So I won like
a
month. Yeah. But the thing is, there's a lot that goes into like I had to hound the company every single month for my T-shirts, and they just got mad at me. You know, but I'm like, you guys, I won this. You got to fulfill it. You know, and they got mad at me, and so I'm like,
here's Emily. I'm not going away. Give me my shirt.
I still wear some of those T-shirts, and I gave some away. Another good one I won from Step 2 was this big jumbo chalkboard for my son. It was probably like $100+. I never won it because I didn't want to enter for trips because I had a family. Like I had my newborn son, and I'm like, I don't want to go on trips with him, to be honest. Like it sounds like a lot of work, you know, but like a lot of people enter trips and they win trips, you know, like I could have won bigger stuff if I was willing to like do the ins and outs of what it took to like go on a big trip with my, you know, but I just like, I don't want to travel with my son right now. So that was nice.
You know, and that's part of like kind of going back to, we'll probably just dance around this, but like you're, if is it safe to say, I'm like, you're a parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luis and I are, you know, fathers as well. And so like always thinking, you know, when it comes to reselling, I guess, you know, one of the mindful things I think as a parent was we always put our family first.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Does that lead to any questions you might have, Luis? Because I have tons here.
Yeah, but I mean, like me, of course, I'm a parent right now. In my situation, I'm a full-time reseller, and I have my 2 kids, my 8-year-old daughter and 6-year-old son. So doing the homeschooling with both of them, and then trying to list, pack, and ship, and all that stuff all at the same time, is maybe something that not a lot of people know. I mean, Emily could probably relate because she has her son.
Yeah.
So it becomes a lot sometimes, especially when they're having a bad day. Because I know sometimes the kids do have a bad day. So my question to you, Emily, is how do you handle those type of days where sometimes you feel like you have too much going on because you have your stuff to ship and pack, and sometimes I know you might have to attend more to your son. So how do you overcome those kind of days?
Well, one big thing is I guess I'll start with, I have a rule for myself that I've started implementing lately, and it's to do one mundane thing for your business every single day. Like it's just one thing that, even if it's small, like, you know, just do one really bland, boring thing that's just for your business every single day.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, it takes the load off of like, I have all these things that I need to do. I have all this stuff, you know, that I like, if you just like, okay, I'll do my custom SKUs today, you know, and I'll do, so like, even if, you know, my other things have a lot more, taking up more attention in my life, I can do one thing for my business that day, you know, and then like those things add up too, you know, so like, throughout the end of the week, you got a bunch of stuff done and you didn't really realize it. So every day I try to ask myself like, okay, what little mundane thing am I going to do? That's not sourcing, because, you know, we all just want to go sourcing, you know? So.
Yeah. And some of us, we do it like you were talking about, like, if you have a mental challenge, you know, like, and like you said, some of us, we like sourcing. But I've often asked myself this question, and it kind of ties back into like what Luis is kind of, you know, talking about in general. I mean, it all ties in. But like, if I realize, am I sourcing because I really need to, or am I using this as a crutch?
Yeah.
Is it, like, do I want to kind of escape that death pile that I've been looking at? Because like you said, doing something every day, I think that's like one of the best things you can tell like a new reseller. I think it's one of the best things you can tell a seasoned reseller, you know, like myself or Luis. And Luis has been doing this for a long time, like, and he impresses me. And I was like, dude, you inspire. And like, you know, you've been doing it just a little less than maybe me, but it's like, but when you look at giving an example, when you look at a death pile, I don't care, like if you have 20 death piles or a lot, or you got a garage or a storage, and it's the key word I'm looking at is somebody told me, and I went, that is so perfect, is like it debilitates you, like it paralyzes you. You get that feeling of like, you want to crawl up on the couch, you want to go, you want to just not think about it, you want to play video games or whatever it is, or and that's okay too, as a form of de-stressing, or decompression. But I guess what I'm trying to go back into is like with the root of the word, like if we're looking at the word being mindful, and we're resellers here, it's like in order to remain consciously aware, like you used the word a little while ago, Emily. It's like, how do you focus? Your awareness. It's like, just take one little step. And I think, and not making ourselves feel guilty, it's one of those things where it's like, how do you remain in the present moment? So like, do you have things where you catch yourself, Emily, where you kind of go, oh, yikes, I'm not where I need to be. Like, so I ask myself, like, where are you now? Like, which is basically like, are you in the back room piddling and really doing nothing, or could you be up front printing labels or something? So like, when have you last caught yourself like not so conscious, where like you can actually just kind of go, oh, it's like a light bulb. You go, okay, this is what I need to be doing.
That's a good question. I think it was just a matter of letting things build up, like, and so I feel like I'm not mindful of like the mental load that I have inside, like because I'll let stuff build up, right? Like for example, I know I need to organize my inventory that I listed. I need to put it down in their boxes and their custom SKUs, but it's all just laying on the floor down there. Or I need to, right now, my office space right here is a hot mess, and like all this stuff was just like, it just like builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up to the point where I'm like, oh man, like I got to get this stuff done. Like I've just been thinking about it. I need to do that thing. I need to do this thing. And just like carrying the mental load when I didn't even need to be, So like I think that was my recent mistake, was just like not taking seriously the things that were on my mind to do, just like, I'll get it done later. I'll get it done after this. I'll get it done after that. I'll put it off. I'll do this first, And it's like, no, like there came a point where I'm like, I need to be better about this. I need to be better about these little tasks that I need to get done to maintain my business, like not even just the sourcing, because I have like the days that I go sourcing, and then I have the days I list every single day. Like I take.
So you keep a routine or schedule? Is it safe to ask?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm very big on schedule. So every single night after the kids lay down, I make sure I take pictures. Right, I take as many pictures as I can, just bust them out, get as much done as I can. Not a set number all the time, but like just take pictures, and then I list 5 things, and I make sure that those are 2 things I do every single night, and that's after the kids lay down. I make sure I do those things. Then sourcing, I'm trying to find a better sourcing schedule right now. Tuesdays, I just go to a bunch of stores and I just source all day, because my husband's home, and as you both know, it's not the most fun to source with your kids, and I just started homeschooling my son, so I know about homeschooling.
So you're doing that while trying to be a mom, and trying to be a wife, and trying to be a reseller.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna get not yet. Let's not go there yet. And I want Luis to hone in on this, because he's my silent partner over there. It's like,
go ahead. I was just listening to what Emily was saying.
No, but I think you'll see where I'm getting to. And it's like, when does Emily, when does Luis, when does, like Louie consciously think like, I need me time, I've had enough. Like with my daughter, it's like, okay, I give you all my attention and, I love you. But like today I did go sourcing, but I was like, okay, is this another distraction, or what am I here? Am I doing anything for me? How is this benefiting me? And I went and looked for shirts, and I went, didn't need it, but it was just kind of that sensitivity of like going, okay, I'm aware now that like I have needs. I need to be in a position where, I'm being of service. I'm, you know, like you said, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, you know, and it's like those kind of things add up. And there was a question here. Let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can reword this, because like I'm verbose sometimes. It's like, so with respect to like challenges, you know, that you encounter like as a parent, have you experienced, you know, boundaries, you know, issues, you know, as a reseller? So like, like you were saying, like I'm taking time to like do these photos and this and that, which kind of tied into like your previous thing, like just chipping away, which I love that, you know, doing something rather than not doing something. That to me is about conscious awareness. That is about being mindful. But so what are the challenges inherent in that? Like that fine line. It's like, you know, I'm still a parent, but like, when do you tell you like, okay, hubby, this is Emily time, leave me alone? Or do you get up earlier? Or, you know, and like, what are you currently working on, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, basically after I list and take my pictures, I spend time at night, you know, which has its pros and cons, because sometimes I'll spend too much time on my own, like doing my own thing, which is really good, like just catching up on YouTube or catching up, you know, like just eating some snacks that I like. I'll have like my gummy worms and my weird salty treats and just weird stuff I have, and like I'll just take lots of time just to like do my, like I just started doing art again, which I think would be good for just being me, you know. So like on Facebook I asked a bunch of people like, give me art ideas, and I'm just going through all of them, and I'm just like, and that's my me time. That's something that calms me down, something that helps me just stop and meditate and think, you know, as I'm just doing art, like visual art type stuff. So like that's when I have my me time every single night, you know. Like I'm definitely but it's like as soon as I wake up in the morning, it's all about everybody else. You know, that's how I feel. Yeah. So like I'm trying to balance it more to like wake up a little bit earlier, so you don't feel like, all right, that's everyone's needs, you know. Like that's
so like we hear Luis there. He's got his daughter, his beautiful daughter, or one of his children is there talking, which is awesome. And that's good. Let it, you know, this is a platform. Like if your kids come on, let them jump on the screen, you know. Do like Kat the nurse flip.
Where are you? There's my daughter right there.
Hi.
Who is this beautiful young lady? Oh,
there's my son.
And there's your son. He's
Oh.
got a good name. He's got a really good name. It's like the same as mine.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Do you have any questions for us, or like, is there anything you'd like to talk about in terms of, you know, just what it is to be a reseller, and like things that you would like to see other resellers, you know, like, is there anything that crosses your mind? Like, what would you like to see more in this community?
You know, this is a wonderful community. Like it's, I feel like it's really hard to say, because y'all are so generous. Y'all are so just like supportive of each other, you know, like there's so much good in the community. It's hard to come up with something off the top of my head of like,
I mean, you don't have to, you know. Well, while you're thinking that, Molly, put it in the back burner. I'm going to say hello to a couple people here.
Okay.
We got Derek. He's Fundamentals of Side Hustling. He, I think he's one of like the resellers I've met recently that has a lot on his plate. I know he's a parent. He doesn't talk about it a lot, you know, necessarily. And some of us are a little more reserved like that, and I respect it. But he is one guy that I've learned a lot, that his sensibility of like going out and sourcing, you know, is a very mindful approach. Like he's very, like you said a little while ago, this community is amazing. He will share his like secrets in the sense that this is what I do when I get to a garage sale, and it's like, wow, this guy thought it through, you know. It's like, and I'm like, I didn't think about approaching it like that. So when you go sourcing, Emily, like, is there any kind of like mindful techniques, you know, that you like to play? Like, you know, like if let's say you're negotiating with somebody, is there anything you did a video not too long ago? Can I say it?
Yeah.
It's like, do we tell lies? I think correct me if I'm wrong. Is that it?
No, it was literally I lied to an elderly woman at a yard sale. That was the title of my video.
Elaborate, you know, like talk a little bit more about that. Like, do you mean like stretching the truth, telling a story, or what is it?
Yeah. So, well, it was a thrift with me video. So I went to a yard sale and then I went to a thrift store in my video. So it was a typical thrift with me. Throughout the video, I just narrate, I just talk about what's going on, you know, like just whatever pops into my head about like, oh, I picked these up for this, or I didn't pick up that, and I don't know why, that was dumb, or like something, you know what I mean? But like, I'll just go through and just like narrate it. And I just, at the end of that garage sale, the lady, I bought a bunch of yarn, you know, and the lady's like, oh, do you knit? You know, and I'm just like, yep. I was just
all the time.
I was like,
well, I'm talking to you, I'm knitting in my head.
But then I backtracked because like I don't want her asking any more questions. So I'm new. Like I just learned, you know, like I don't know much about it. Like, and I'm like, you tell one lie, and then you gotta make up more lies to cover for that lie, you know. And I'm like, y'all, why do we do this to ourselves? You know, it's like just say I'm a reseller, but it's so hard because you know there's like a stigma out there, and people might like, what's that? And you know, like
let me ask you this. You know, there's that old saying, like, and then Luis, hone in on this. So like there is this little saying about like little white lies, you know, like, and we have this like mischievousness. And I think resellers, I think most resellers that I've met, a lot of them are very creative types. Some are artists, some are really good at editing, so like the film aspect comes natural to them. Some of them, their persona is like, they're like an actor, and it's like, hey, you know, and but there's this complementary aspect of like being a creative type. Do you think that we lie to ourselves and tell us it's okay to kind of like stretch the truth a little bit? I'm a storyteller. I love a good story. So like when I go to a flea market, I'll tell you what, this little thing you looked at, let me tell you where it came from. Oh my God, I got, you know, and it's like people are like, what? And it's so funny. People listen. They want to, and it's almost like, does she want me to lie to her right now? Because I'm going to tell her, you know, I'm going to sell her the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I think you kind of do have your preconceived notions going into a yard sale. Like this person will understand. They're kind of my age, you know, like you just, and this lady, she was older, you know, like not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, I was like, she might not understand, you know, and I didn't really think it through of like why I said what I said, but like,
so there you go. That's an aspect of mindfulness where like, you know, it's a should I have done that situation? And I don't think
I judge each person. Like there's been people that I'm like, yo, I'm a reseller, and they're like, oh, cool, I know what that is, and you know, like there's been plenty of times when I've been able to, but for some reason with this lady, I'm like, I can't. And some people are like, you know what, that's okay. You know, and I'm like, it probably, you know, it's probably just something that might happen, you know, but it was just funny to me.
No, I think this is great that you're bringing this up because we have these, everybody has their preconceived notions. And unfortunately, we're all raised differently. And we all sometimes bring in our stereotypes and our archetypes of like what a person is, you know, whether it's nationality or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to go there. But my point is like, you go up to a little lady, you're like, hello. And it turns out she's a shrewd business person.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not getting it for cheap, you know, and you're like, you know, you know what I mean? It's like, and I watched The Best of Us, like even Matt Part-Time Picker talked about it once. He was like, he got clotheslined by this lady, was like, well, you want to, you know, and he's a reseller, you know, and it's like, you know, so like Derek's in here, you know, I wish he can like dial a friend and like have him on speakerphone because he talked about this on OBX Picker, you know, Eric's channel with, and I think it was Dapper Tiger too, and he was being interviewed. And he said before he comes in, he's like in stealth mode. And this is my paraphrasing it. And while he's there, he's like observing the whole thing. This is a mindful technique. Like if you're into Zen or whatever, you're going to observe it. Now, introverts, now I'm not going to say who, let me see if I'm pointing the right way, you know, like whatever, like Luis and maybe Emily. You observe, you know, we have a tendency to sit back and go, what's going on in this situation? Oh my God, they're about to throw down. I'll wait for them to fight and be so tired. I'm going to get a good deal.
But I mean, you go in there and you play your position and you're like, okay, let me just lay back and let me observe and see what's going on. just to kind of get the feel for it, like that, what way to approach. That's what you do. That's how I do it. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it, but
He's
that's
a
my
chess player. Here's our
you
chess player. Do you do that the same way you play pool, Luis?
something like that.
It's an
I
inside
just hang out in the background. I just observe and wait when
you
the
guys
opening is good.
competitive at games?
What was that?
Are both of you competitive at games? Not too much.
No, I'm not.
I say no, but then you get me in a game, and then you know what I mean.
Emily's like, watch out, here I come.
Maybe I'm not so mindful of how I actually am in games, because like I'm not okay. I don't want to be competitive, but I think I am deep down. You know what I mean?
Pandora's box. So answer this carefully. I'm going to put you on the spot in a minute. So go ahead. Answer. No. Have fun with it. It's going to be. It's. You're going to love it. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you say you're not, but then you say maybe we should be more mindful. What do you mean?
See, I think I don't want to be competitive. So I'm like, we shouldn't be competitive. You know, like I say this, like I want to focus. Like it's not about. Oh wow. That's weird. It's not about like numbers. It's not about like, like I want to live that way. Like, I think that's a way to strive to be like, to be happy with where you personally were. I guess we're getting into something else, like, but competitive, like the competitive side definitely can be there, like in lots of areas. Like, and I think that I do have a competitive side to me, that I would rather just be happy, with like where I'm at and where I was, you know what I mean? And that kind of thing. In terms of games, I think I'm playfully competitive. I think.
Good. Okay. So we'll classify it as playfully competitive. Now, the reason I asked is because sometimes I catch myself, like I went to visit my family not too long ago, and they live in Houston area, and I live in Austin. So that's like a 2.5 hour drive, and and I'm enjoying the visit. And they're like, do you want to play games? And I'm like, God, I haven't played games in a while. And it's one of those I had to explain a little bit. But once you get into it, I observed so much about myself. I went, how does this apply to my nature, my behavior, my human nature as a reseller? Because it's telling. It's like, like you said, and I love that because I think you're telling something about yourself. It's like, you don't want to beat somebody down. But with the fierce, bold, like striving, hungry Emily knock an old lady down for like a box of yarn if you knew you can get it for a nickel. So there's that competitive nature, and as resellers, are we aware of like how mean we can be sometimes? Like I got to get there before my competition. Like one of the famous things we have around here is got to be the first one there, right? And it's like
yeah.
No, that's all it is. I mean, everybody's mindset could be different just depending on the situation when you get there. It could be different. I mean, you could just be there and be like, okay, no one's here. You walk in, you source your stuff. Or you could walk in and be like, damn it, you beat me to it. You already see them filling up all your stuff that you were going to get. But, you approach it differently. I mean, sometimes you could be like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll get the next one.
Yeah.
Or you could go in there and start throwing elbows with them and try to get the rest before they get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like if you're
depends on what's your mood is.
Go ahead.
So that's just the way it's just the way it is. I mean, me personally, I don't do that. But talking about the older people that do go like to the thrift stores a lot, you see especially the older ladies fighting over the curtains and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, it's funny to watch, but you go in there and you're seeing these 75-year-old ladies going back and forth about curtains or what do you call those table mats?
Yeah,
just whatever they collect. But I don't want to get into the whole thing where like maybe it's an age thing. But
I'm not saying it's an age thing. I'm just saying it's just everybody does it. It's not just us resellers. I mean, it's just my point is to show that it's not just us resellers, because I know us resellers, they say, oh, you can't always come in and you guys empty out everything and you guys do this and that. But technically, it's not just always us.
So we have merchants, which are quite often not looked at as a merchant, but like if you're on Amazon, you're merchant fulfilled. You're gonna you're a reseller. But then you got buyers. Okay, so if you're there as a buyer and you just need to buy and source something because you want to get a good deal, there's another fierceness to it. And the mindset is like it's going to interfere with another reseller that wants to get that so they can sell it back to you, at a price. Now I've been in the art world in New York, And there's a third component. And if you're a collector, you know, oh my God, there's like cutthroat. Like I dealt with books, and book dealers are book dealers. Those are the guys that they're kind of like the middleman. It's like the person that sells the house and makes the money and this and that. They don't own the house, and they're not the person selling the house, you know. And it's a crazy kind of atmosphere. So like, Emily, have you ever been to the Goodwill bins or something like that, where people are fiercely like, I've seen stuff where like I've actually seen throwdowns, and it's like, I gotta go. I don't want to be in this environment. I don't like drama, you know. And it's like, so hearing you say I'm kind of playfully competitive, you know, it shows that your character and your demeanor is one that is like, do I really need this? You know, is, like Louis said, there will be a time where mine will come. But, you know, it's just, you got to come in sometimes stealthily and just kind of do that. Let me just say hi real quick. We got Regina in the house. We got Eric OBX Picker. And so many more came in. And if I forgot to say your name, you guys, please forgive me. Everybody in the chat, I'm going to try to figure out a game here. I don't know. Maybe not. But like if Luis, if you got a question that's kind of two-sided, like it's either this or that, we can play the 1-2 game where like we can ask Emily a question. Does anybody think that Emily is this? Put a 1. If she's not, put a 2. Something like that. If you think of something, we'll do that. But so I'm trying to think. We're good on here. We are on time. We got probably a good, you know, almost 15 minutes before we like sum it up. Maybe we'll kind of keep short because I know you're a parent and you got a family. How are you doing on time? Is it okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. And I'm just trying to see some of the comments. There's like a lot of chat going on right now. So it's fun. So Derek was in here, and I saw Westside Gary. Thank you for coming. And
What's up, Gary?
we got so many unique people. Thank you for the love and support. You guys, if you haven't already, if somebody's in the chat and I need to put some wrenches, and I'm sorry I haven't yet, but if there's somebody with a wrench in here, drop Emily's link. You guys, if not, just find her. Emily Conway. She's got a great show. It's on Wednesdays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she does a lot of content. And
Yeah, Jennifer's been dropping the links down. So
perfect,
thank you, Jennifer.
Perfect. And that's what I like about this community. Everybody I see in this live came to support and show, you know, not just their interest, but they show they care. So, you know, like talking about mindfulness and this and that, you know, it's like, I think as resellers, now going back to the reseller thing, why do you think a lot of us really, really come to YouTube? I mean, you know, is it strictly the learning? Is it maybe because we do sense emotions? We're kind of like, I'm bored, you know, or maybe it's a distraction. Or I think a lot of people don't like to talk about, and I think Luis and maybe you and I have spoke about this on one topic or not, Emily, is, you know, there's that sense of loneliness, you know, like kind of even Yakov, who's, you know, is really, there's Jake, but Yakov Benz, who's just starting his journey here on YouTube. He said, he's like, I, you know, don't have a lot of people to connect with, you know. So like, what about YouTube? Can you talk about that? And like how to use YouTube as a mindful resource?
That's a big question too. Y'all got good questions here. But yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I use reselling one as a way to make money and to like feel a sense of accomplishment that I'm building something. It's an amazing feeling to build something from the ground up and to watch it grow and to see where you were a year ago with reselling and how that's improved, and just having that sense of satisfaction is something that you've done and that you're building, you know, like the process is amazing. It's so much fun. I love it. I love every second of it. In terms of loneliness, it is very real for resellers, and especially in this climate right now. And that's a big reason why I started.
You talk about why how about this? Not so much why do you think, but like, what have you observed? What have you experienced? And what are you probably like your experiences knowing, yeah, that's more than, I mean, it's obviously it, you know, what do you think? Can you talk about that?
I think I understand what you're saying. I don't know.
You can just do a little brief. You don't have to really go into, you know.
Yeah, you know, like, you know, kind of going into like, you know, just like what are some of the reasons like you see is like coming here, you know, like you said, it's like the pandemic, you know.
Definitely just the isolation, that because being your own business person, like running your own business, especially something like reselling where you don't have employees necessarily, you don't have people to connect with at all, like, and you have this love, like just that when that you get that cha-ching, or like no one understands, like you try and tell it to people, like I try to explain to my husband, like it's fun, like, and it's like you're, because they haven't experienced it, they haven't like found the item, saw that it sold for a lot of money, and then got that sale, like once you get that first taste of reselling, you're just like, this is amazing. And so you find other people who have that same interest that you can't talk to your everyday friends about this because they're not going to understand. And so I think
sometimes it's because not necessarily, I mean, they probably don't understand on certain levels, obviously, because like, one, they don't understand how much work you put into it. They don't know what the details you've been sitting there.
Yeah.
They don't know that your struggles were like, the kids have been screaming all day, I want hot dogs, and the hot dogs were hot because I couldn't go out. They got home late, And it's like, but then there's also that notions like, do you think there's a part of it's like, I'm kind of tired, I don't really care, I want to go watch sports, or whatever,
There's definitely times like that. Yeah, for sure. Like, there's definitely times where I'm like, man, I've actually had a couple days like that this week. Just, I had pictures in my phone already, thankfully, so I was able to just like post some listings and then like take pictures the next day or whatever. But like definitely have nights like that where I'm like, I don't want to do anything, and that's okay too. Like every once in a while, that's great. That's actually like healthy, I think. I don't think that you need to be going 24/7 for your business.
I think the lack of a better word I like to use is everybody needs a Sabbath. Whether that's a Wednesday or Friday or Saturday or something or Sunday, for some people it's it may be a spiritual discourse. Like I need to go to the park and I need to unwind, and I really just need to be in touch with Mother Nature to shut all computers off and tablets, whatever it is. Like what do you do for yourself? Like what is it? Like you did say you're a creative person, you're getting into painting. But is there any other things that you've been changing about your schedule that you're trying to be more aware consciously, so you can be a retailer? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One huge thing for me has been putting my freaking phone down. Because I could be on my phone all day if I really because there's people talking to me on Instagram, there's people talking to me on TikTok, there's people talking to me on YouTube asking questions.
Wow.
I could literally spend all day connecting with people in the reselling community, and I do sometimes. And I'm a big fan of therapy. I have a therapist and I love her to pieces. Therapy's not a weird thing, by the way. Just want to put that out there, guys. Like, yeah, we all probably need it to some degree or another. But even from that, I talked to her about like just stuff that was stressful for me. And it was all from like just connecting all the time on my phone, And so she said, like, why don't you put your phone down just for like half an hour sometimes,
She said that to you, or you said that to her?
She said that to me, like, just put your phone down for half an hour. And some days it ends up being a little bit longer now. Like, it's definitely such an impulse. Like, I looked online that said we check our phone every 6 minutes. And I believe it. Like we pick up our phone.
That's a good stat. That's a good stat to be aware. To be aware is to be conscious. If you're conscious, then you're really trying your hardest to be mindful. That being said about the phone, I went sourcing. It was really kind of an excuse to go get something to eat before I came and met you guys. And as I was there, I was like, oh, there's Thrift Town. I'm going to walk in it. And the first thing I reached for was my phone. And guess what? I left it home, and I was just like, no. And I went, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't need it right now. You're going to have to go now, but you're going to have to use your like wisdom. You're going to have to use your experience. You're going to have to use your neutral. Like, either you buy it or you don't. So I think what you brought up was like a gem here for this first show. So thank you, because I think as not just, as far as humanity goes, I think this is something that's really getting carried away. And I think during this type of the Rona or the pandemic or whatever you want to call it, and we're stuck here. Here we are on YouTube, you know, and we're in these little boxes and we're talking like Max Headroom, which was like so ahead of its time. Do you guys remember Max Headroom?
Yeah.
Not YouTube it. It's crazy. I thought, who's gonna talk in a head box? You know, and isn't that, well, like you go on TV and you're watching the news, you're talking about a bunch of talking heads, you know, and it's like, how much more do we want to watch YouTube? So like, do you find that although YouTube can be an enormous benefit, and to me, it's like there's so many golden nuggets, and it's a really rich. And I think Sam the Dapper Tiger said it best. He said something to the effect of, "There's a lot of rich resources through, you know, for us as resellers in this community using YouTube." But I'm going to go so far as I'm going to go out and reach out on a limb and ask, what do you do to kind of like cut the cord? You know, like, you know, do you have a day you say no YouTube? You know, because I find myself, let's see what somebody's doing. You know, it's Saturday. Why is nobody doing a lot? It's like, do I need to watch it? Do you find that kind of disconnect, like with your phone as you do the YouTube, or maybe it's the phone that's pulling you in to go watch YouTube? I don't know.
Yeah, I try to disconnect. I don't have like a set like day or whatever. But I'm definitely becoming more mindful of it, definitely realizing like, okay, this is a problem, you know, like it's draining me like slowly, you know, every time I pick up my phone, answer tons of questions, and then I look up and time has gone. Like, see, it's, I try to find time. That's it. Like, I don't have a schedule for it, but I do like just put it down when I think of it, you know, and I'm trying to be better about it. So I'm not in a place where I'm like, this is definitely how I do it right now, and I'm such an expert at this, you know what I mean? Because it's bad. It's bad. I'm not going to lie.
It can be bad. And so I'm watching you, you know, and you're using words that I catch myself doing in like a really good like mentor, and like in Luis can talk on this, like, you know, he's had mentors that like, okay, this is what you can do in reselling, and this is what's going to help you sharpen up your skills and your mindset. And I think one of them is be careful about like what words you use. Like, you know, and this is not a judgment call, but I know it's like you stuff that I do, and it's like I go, oh, that's such a bad situation. What does it have to be bad, or is this just a challenging effing day? You know, it's like all the challenges is like you said, like what baby steps do I need to take to get this mountain of a task list, you know, because do you set daily aims? Do you have weekly goals that reach you to the monthly goal? And then, you know, hopefully there's like an annual aim or goal, you know, like, do you guys keep those things in mind? And like in the daily aim is like, you know, Wednesdays is no phone day or something like that. Have you ever thought about stuff like that?
Yeah. I haven't actually thought about that for my phone. Like, I couldn't, to be honest, I could not picture myself going a whole day without my phone. I just couldn't. But I do it for increments. Like, I'll do it for like an hour, a couple of hours. You know what I mean? Like, I should. Maybe I should just do a whole day.
I do it. I do it sometimes when like I said, when I take my pictures and I just gotta list everything up. I'll turn off my phone. I actually turn off my phone and I'll put it on the top shelf on one of my racks, and I just forget about it. I'll put on some music. I'll start listening on my laptop, and I'll just do it. And sometimes I'll even forget about the phone. I don't even think about it, you know. And I'll just list, because to me it becomes more of a distraction when you're trying to list and you're trying to do everything, because you start getting messages or you know, reminders or different stuff, you know, people calling you.
Why is Louie calling me right now? Louie's trying to text me, and I'm doing my work, you know?
Yeah, you know, so you're trying to focus on what you're doing. So, I mean, it is hard sometimes, because everybody, like Emily said, you're so used to picking up your phone and, okay, let's see who messaged me or what's going on YouTube. So to me, that's what I try to do that every day for a few hours if possible. I think the longest I've done it, a day has been maybe about 5 hours.
Okay.
So that's just awesome. A practice of mine that I try to do, just so I don't get, you know, distracted and do that. And of course, with the kids, sometimes when they come in and, Dad, you know, I need this, or well, I'll stop doing what I'm doing. I'll put them to bed, and then I'll come back on my laptop and continue doing what I'm doing, but the phone stays off.
Here,
So,
guys, take
Louis,
it. Take my phone, okay? Take it.
Louis can tell you he'll
No,
message me
so like
sometimes.
this is I think Luis brings up an amazing point, but I think what's what's preceded by was you talked about like how distracting it can be. So like as a reseller, this is things that I think we don't talk about enough. It's like, because everybody's like, I probably annoyed the crud out of everybody this past week. Like, hey guys, Luis and I have a new show. Come visit if you can. If not, rewatch it. But and it's like, not everybody can be everywhere every moment and every time.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, Emily, like there's this sensation of like, I need that thing in my hand. Is that a mechanical, programming that we do? Or, and I think it's like wonderful, like what Luis suggests is like, I make a practice. We use the keyword practice. I think of like, not to kind of go off in philosophical kind of like, nature of this, but mindfulness, it's preceded by like a practice. And so practice is like regiment. Whether you're in the army or not, you better like be regimented and have a kind of structure. So I think for resellers, I think it's like you were saying, oh, it's bad. Well, no, but how about if it's just more in our best interest? And we don't want to hear it sometimes because it comes off as advice. But like with friends, I think if we can help each other become accountable, like put your phone away for 1 hour, only when I slept, but like maybe those are things we can do, because I heard a statistic is for a person that can go camping for 1 week, unplugged, no laptop, no phones, no nothing, no discourse of like electronic, not even video games. They said that your like REM and your chemistry in your brain all of a sudden like grounds to like a level where like, wow, you can see consciously, like in a very clear way, that you probably wouldn't normally. And I think we're being programmed as resellers, be on your phone, check your eBay every 5 minutes, do this, Sometimes like Luis said, like it gets too overwhelming. I went, why don't I deserve to shut this shit down? Excuse my language. It's like, there's a time when you have to kind of go, I'm going to go put my feet on the ground, whatever, people are, oh, you're a tree hugger. No, just like, I need to like be in a more natural state, as opposed to me, like technology can be very plastic at times. I don't want to be at an amusement park with my kids, and then all of a sudden I'm like, let me just see what's going on in YouTube. It's like, it's not fair, so it's like one of those things, and it becomes a dilemma. So I think just you admitting that, like I know I've been very guilty of that with my daughter when she was young, and it's like, I can't have that time back, And
it's important that you like grow your YouTube channel or grow your platforms, because I have my TikTok, I have my YouTube. I try to be in touch with a lot of the platforms, Instagram and stuff like that. And you're going to get messages a lot, like, and it's okay to just let it go, like it's okay to not respond right away, even like one thing, because you asked like what I'd like to see in the community more. And I think one thing is to just like go easy on yourself about stuff, when you have people like beat themselves up about like, I didn't see everybody's video, like, I'm sorry I haven't been on, like that's one thing. Like, don't feel bad. We're here. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be here when you come back. Like, it's not, you're not missing out, even though you think you are, and you feel immediately like you need to. Like, it's great to want to support and to want to help everybody. Like it's good, but you have to love yourself and like give yourself permission, and don't have to feel like you have to come up with an excuse about that, or like. One thing
I think I've talked to you about, Emily, do you remember I said non-critical observation? Just observe it.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, I've been on TikTok for 7 hours. Oops. Well, okay, can we lessen it down to like maybe 2 hours tomorrow instead, throughout the day or something, you know what I mean? Like, so being non-critical on yourself, like you said, don't beat yourself up. I think that's really important as a reseller. We need to learn. We're all going to make mistakes, and there's going to be new inherent challenges. What do you think that's in the future that's in store for us that we might need to be a little more mindful? Be it something you learned from the pandemic, technology, patterns that you see repeat,
I think it's just getting so competitive, you know, like getting so like looking at everyone else, looking what everyone else's numbers are, and wow, am I doing it right? Am I not?
Nice.
Because I think that's one trap we all fall into is like, well, this person is so much further ahead than me, and it's like you just started 5 minutes ago, you know, and you're seeing somebody who's been doing eBay for years and years, you know, has like a massive whatever, you know, big number of the 90-day sales, you know, people post that, or they post like, so like I think that's something that we're going to have recurring is like not comparing yourself to somebody else's situation, because everybody is so different, you know, and everybody is so like where they're at with their business, and it takes time to build up a business, you know. I think at the beginning people have this idea of like, man, I'm reselling, that means I'm going to make crazy money right away, you know. And I think that as you resell longer and longer, you're like, no, this is something that's like you're building day by day. But that's why I try to do that mundane task day by day, you know, to just like, this is something I'm building and something that's going to take time, you know. And don't rush yourself. Don't rush yourself to know everything right now, because let me tell you right now, there's literally endless knowledge about items. Like you could just keep learning about items. Like, you know, give yourself a break. Go easy on yourself when you make that first return. If you get above return, if you get these things, like really difficult things happen in your business, and just that's something that you shouldn't do. You should not.
Wow, that is like, that's dynamite in a small package. But like, that's the wonderfulness of like YouTube, is we come back and rewatch and like, what did she say? You know, like that is like, you know, you've given us a lot of golden nuggets and gems. But most importantly, Emily, I just want to thank you, you know, on behalf of Luis and I. And gracious co-host here, you know, ghost. Yeah, he was about to leave. He's like, it's time. No. But we are on it. I don't want to push you for a little bit if you want to like spend 2 more minutes, but I think, you know, just for the fairness of and speaking of mindfulness, I think for everybody in the live, I just want to say thank you for coming. But most importantly, let's thank our host. Everybody, you know, give her a quick shout out in the live, because I mean, it's really important information. You shared a lot, and I know it's a little dense, but you and I think that's one thing I love about you, is like you're really full of information. Now, Luis too, you know, and I'm gonna let him end on his, you know, on a note where like anything you guys want to share. I just want to say this is I hope this is going to be something that we can do, you know, on a at least a bi-weekly basis. Luis and I are talking about maybe if this is like something that's important for the community and more people reach out. We had, I don't know, like quite a few people in the live chat. So I just want to say, I'm sorry if I didn't say hello to everybody. Luis and I are like kind of just, you know, here, you know, grounding this situation of like, this is a new idea. So Emily, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was awesome.
Yeah, we love having you. Hopefully you come back soon and visit us again.
Yeah, let me know.
Definitely.
If anything, maybe you can entertain the thought where like, you know, Luis is sick this week, or Luis has to be out of town. He's taking his wife on
vacation. Fill in for me.
You would be an awesome co-host. You know, even again.
I have been looking for. We'll talk, but I've been looking for other things to do live.
Let's walk.
Yeah.
You ever see that? Like, let's walk. Everybody, thank you. We're going to be mindful of your time now, because everybody's a reseller, and you know, and if you're not, thank you for sharing. We hope there's something we contributed that you learned. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to everybody that you see in this chat, you know, and just reach out if you guys got questions. And most importantly, we just ask everybody, think about what is the one thing today that you can learn, you know, and that's like probably the best mindful thing. Like Emily said, don't beat yourself up, you know, have fun. Luis, give me some final words here, bro.
No, just want to thank Emily for joining us today. And of course, it's always a good time. Always, like I said, if you guys don't know or follow Emily, make sure you subscribe to her channel. Follow her on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
She does the most awesome videos on there.
Like my heart and soul. Like I love it.
It's like I was telling her before we came on. Sometimes I'll be having a bad day, and I'll just go to the TikTok and I see 1 or 2 of her things, and it changes my whole mood. So make sure you guys
You know
follow
what?
her.
She puts so much effort in there, Luis. Don't you
Yeah.
think? Like, how does she get those texts up there? This and that? And she relates it. Here's the thing: it's not going to just be a distraction. It's more often than not. She does it about reseller stuff, and
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah.
That is like me. Like, wow. I know you're a busy mom and a parent, and like you said, you know, you're also a wonderful wife. I know you are to your husband, and most importantly, like you're just a wonderful person. And it's been like you sharing this stuff with us is like your gift to us. So, you know, mindfully, all we can, you guys show the love, go back, subscribe to Emily, you know, reach out, give comments once in a while, because that's really where we can put our, like, you know what, I'm not sure what you did here, but your edits are crazy good. You know, just give something, just even say hi. But okay, on that note, I think we're really close on time. Emily, would you like to lead us out and say anything?
Just love yourself, take care of yourself, be mindful. Also, I always tell people this on my channel is that you have endless worth just by existing, nothing more. So,
Awesome.
all right. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, everybody, we're going to head out here. Thank you once again. And
thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Guys.
All right. Thank you, Emily.